Greetings everyone and welcome back to Sorcery 3, the Seven Serpents. I probably should mention it once again, it has been a while since I played it, because I usually do long sessions, get enough footage, and whenever I get time, then I do another long session like this time probably, so yeah. I hope I remember more or less what we're doing here. I think I do. The step seems to float underfoot, creating a marsh. Your weight returns and you settle gradually back down to the ground. The air moves a little, still icy but fresh. Suddenly, you hear a loud shouting and splashing from a group of reeds close at hand. Let's run, maybe? You turn quickly and splash through the thin water, making a terrible noise as you go. The nervy cries grow sounder and keener, and you recognize the voices as those of marsh goblins. Oh yeah, there was marsh goblins, I forgot. Let's try to hide. You crouch down in a clump of reeds to wait for the goblins to arrive. A few minutes later, a small band of marsh goblins enter the clearing and stop panting hard as stop being chased. You stay crouched low and listen. They are speaking in a language you do not know, though. It is not the common tongue. The goblins are arguing amongst themselves. One begins to push another hard in the shoulder. One step closer to your position but does not seem to notice you. The argument continues. A taller goblin, a leader perhaps, striders over the knock down to angry goblins. How long it will let me wait? This is what I wondering. I don't really want to fight. I like to keep my stamina up. You keep waiting. The group rally around the taller goblin. He waves his sword and they take off at a run across the marshland. You pick yourself up from the reeds once more. Time to move on. Okay, what we have here? We did check all the sound section of this area, so I guess the village. You reach the edge of the marsh abruptly and climb up onto the flat ground. As the morning moves on, the wind begins to rise. The steps stretch away from here. As you walk, you see a strange sight. A village of listing huts in the middle of open space, with no walls or defenses at all. Ugly villagers lope from the tent to tent, dressed in animal skins. The men and women are strongly and leanly dressed in animal skins, but by the gate, two creatures stand with hefty wooden clubs. Clatamen, like those that accosted you overnight. Oh yeah, I remember these guys, which tried to kill me. What kind of spell I could use here? Safe passage. Do we want to find safe passage through the village? I guess that would be a great idea actually, but what else is here? Grow in size. That might work too, because they are really primitive. If I remember, they don't know what fire is. Yup, summon a giant. Requires a giant's tooth. I don't remember where we get the giant's tooth. Did this booby sorceress give it to us? I don't really remember. But fine, this won't take any of my stamina and I think it might work. You pull your last giant's tooth from your pack and throw it on the hard, dusty ground, casting your spell across it. The tooth erupts into a column of smoke, from which a towering giant steps out. Oh, look at this angry mother trucker. Approach the village. But I'm quite sure they noticed the guy already. You approach the village with the giant at your back. The guards' eyes grow wide and wild, and they run from their posts. Perfect. You go to enter the village. The giant follows, bashing his way through one of the tents. Then it steps on the burning fire. Screaming in pain, it begins to lash out at the huts and the clattermen and clatterwoman, who begin to make a dreadful keening noise. If I cancel the spell, will I get the tooth back? This is what I'm kind of wondering right now. Let's watch. You sit back and watch the giant uproots every last hut and dashes them together. The fire is extinguished and the clatterfolk scatter into the trees to the north, leaving little or nothing behind. In the last moments before the giant disappears, it lifts one villager into the air. Then the spell vanishes and the clatterman falls to the earth with a sickening crunch. You poke through broken beams and torn canvas sheets looking for anything useful, but it seems that clattermen have very little. No weapons, no food stores, no books or scrolls or gold that you can find. The huts are roughly drawn together and surrounded, shouldering fire. A single large tent stands to the south. You poke at the fire pit, but discover nothing of interest. It has already burned low. Eyes watch you from the forest. You look inside one of the huts, but it seems to be quite empty, as though no one had ever lived inside. Certainly there is no bidding or effects. Perhaps the clatterfolk did not build this village at all, but simply found it and occupied it. There is a movement amongst the trees to the north. I mean, I feel they might just come back and be really angry. You look inside the large tent. To your surprise, you find it filled with blacksmith tools and small components of the kind used by Jowler. You hunt across the workshop but find nothing of use. You hood through the wreckage, broken glass and twisted metal that is scattered across the floor. You happen across what looks like a compass, but it is clearly broken. Its dial has been shattered, and the needle does not point north. North. Yeah. You pick up the compass through what good it will do you is unclear. You leave the craftsman tent. Yeah, let's get out of here. There is nothing for it but to move on. You pick your way over bits of wreckage from the broken huts to the south. Yeah. Now I'm wondering, what if I would set this beam to make this into marsh? I feel it could be harder, but I don't really am sure. The sun disappears from view as you step into the trees. On all sides, the ancient forest looms up. The sun has reached its highest point now. Out of the shade, the air is baking hot. The trees loom around you, twisted and old. You explored the forest in the Shamutanti Hills when you met Alianna, but that was mere a copse in the comparison to this. I am quite... I like when games do that. This is what this refers to is a situation which happened in Sorcery 1, which is like on very beginning. The forest of Snata is ancient and it is a maze. There are no roads through it, only twisted paths and dead ends, but who knows what secrets it might hide. You peer between the trees. Boulders and trees litter to view in all directions, but why to the north and west seem possible? Yeah, let's go up. You peer north through the trees but can make nothing out except that the path seems well trod. Looking west on the other hand, the forest seems thinner, with a comfortable white space through which to walk, as though the forest was unable to grow there. Time to choose a direction. So, seems like this passage, which is longer, may be safer, But I won't go north because there is another of those towers here. You walk on between the trees. Mid-afternoon heat makes the air sticky. The path is narrow and is probably an animal track rather than anything more established. You pause to look at the mud and make out a series of path prints, each about twice the size of your hand. They are quite fresh. I don't like the sound of that. You follow what might be a path, and might be an old river. Through the trees of the forest the sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. Underfoot the earth has been charged to the mud, and you notice the branches either side of this road are broken. You check the stem of one of the broken branches. It has not been cut with a blade, but rather it has been torn apart, as told by something stapling it through. Oh, shit. You pause to check the mud. There are more prints like these you found before. Suddenly, there is a cracking in the bushes to your right, and you turn to see the towering shape of a wild bear. Oh my god. Oh, Pt.3? I seen this in cartoons. That might work, I don't know. But what could be even more effective than climbing a tree is casting a spell. Cause clumsiness. Requires 3 stamina. That could work, but what is else there? Cast depression. Only 1 stamina. That might work as well. And less stamina, so I hold into that. Clone the caster. Oh. That might be even more effective, I reckon. Control non-intelligent creatures. That could be useful, but I don't know how long this bear would be walking with me. I mean, I don't know would it even. I could just order him to like go away, but I bet there would be some interesting options to pick there. Cast fixedness. Okay. So what I think I'm gonna do now is, as those... Yeah, I think I checked all of them. L? Yeah. I think I'm gonna cast clone myself and hope for the best. Oh no, it didn't work for shit, isn't it? You cast the spell and 5 clones step out from behind you. Forming a semicircle, the bear steps back regarding all of you and choosing which to attack, but this bear must be old and wise, as when it lunges forward it is at you. You draw your sword and approach the rearing creatures. Standing firm, you swing a mighty blow to the wild bear. Then your sword finds a soft place in the bear's body. It roars and tumbles to the ground quite dead. 2 stamina lost. Decent dwelling. I could replay that and maybe don't even get any hit, but let's just carry on. You shatter your sword and dust yourself down. A bear, however, large is not enough to stop you on your tracks. You have encountered deathrise and worse. That's true. Can we harvest him, like for food, maybe, please? Things rustle in the branches all around. One by one, your clones vanish. The sun is sinking and the sky is turning breeze purple. The smell of rotting leaf mulch fills your nostrils. You catch a glimpse of a bright red snake through the trees. It seems to be watching you. Oh my. Could it be one of the 7 serpents? Very likely. And we're gonna see in the next episode. I want to try to make this episode shorter because some of you guys requested to do so. So yeah, here you have a nice cliffhanger, I guess. I'm actually quite curious. That would be it for this episode then. And I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did. If you do still enjoying this series. And I'm gonna see you in the next video. Have a lovely day and farewell.